Hi, and welcome back to the Unraveling podcast. Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
What's going on?
Nothing much.
I hate
Just
starting. The
hanging
intros
out.
are always like, like, let's just get into it.
Yep, let's do it. All right.
Okay,
I'm ready.
so we're gonna start with a crazy Garth Brooks conspiracy. My husband sent me this, and I was like, "What?" And then Jamie, you said you already saw this.
Yeah, I did a little. No, I didn't do too much research into it, but I looked into it for just like
It's
a
pretty
short
weird.
bit.
Okay, it's kind of long, but it's very interesting. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
There's a theory that Garth Brooks isn't just a country legend, but he's a serial killer secretly hiding in plain sight. This all started when comedian Tom Segura started pointing out something strange. A disturbing amount of people have gone missing in cities where Garth Brooks was touring. Like, way too many for it to be a coincidence. We are talking decades of overlapping timelines. Missing person cases tied to his tour stops from the early 90s all the way into the 2010s. Obviously, none of this is proven. It's a conspiracy theory, but it's weird. Now, here's the part that really creeps me out. Garth Brooks has this created alter ego named Chris Gaines, and it's his character, and it looks totally different from him. He has dark hair, soul patch, rock star energy. Garth explained it to everyone, saying that this was for a movie role that never ended up happening, which is very common. Conspiracy theorists think that this was something else entirely. They say that Chris Gaines was his mask, a way to express his darker impulses through music. Some even believe that he used this persona to explore his so-called killer identity without getting caught. And I totally understand how this sounds very far-fetched, but watch this interview. It's from 1989, and they ask him if he would ever act in a movie, and Garth says that he did not want to be the hero. Instead, he says that he would rather kill somebody and that it would be fun. And you know, that's very valid. Villains are really fun to play. But just watch the video.
You're quiet, laid back. That's the first impression we get of Garth Brooks, right?
If somebody called you up and said, "Hey, we got this charity thing going on, would you ride a bull?"
I'd rather kill somebody. That'd be fun. If you run with your eyes shut, you're going to run into something. Dreamers don't last long in this town.
Now, years later, after all of this, Garth is still involved in this ongoing legal case with a woman who accused him of doing terrible things to her. The case is still open, and it was life-threatening towards her. Some people believe that these deaths were occurring because they were part of a ritual, a way to stay famous, to stay powerful, to stay untouchable. And we hear about that a lot with the Hollywood elite, you know, the conspiracy theories around it. I'm not saying any of it's true. This is just for entertainment purposes. It's fun to talk about. But people can't help but notice, as long as people keep disappearing in the town he's playing when he's playing there, Garth keeps selling out stadiums. Let me know what you believe and follow.
Pretty weird.
It is weird. I think I never even thought about it being just like a ritual to stay famous.
I know.
That makes more sense.
I know.
Than him just being a psycho, but
he's so weird. He also kind of reminds me of who's the old guy in Yellowstone? What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
He kind of looks like him.
I wanted to say Harrison Ford, but he's in the other one.
Oh my gosh.
Why are we both? Here we go again, everybody.
Here we go.
I can't think of his name. Kevin Costner.
Yes, thank you. I was like, really? My husband's going to be so embarrassed.
I was going
to
say Bruce Willis, but
Bruce Willis
is not. Poor Bruce Willis. He's like got dementia or something. He's like,
does he?
Yeah, he's like dying. It's really sad.
That's sad.
Yeah, but that is an interesting theory. It's like it because I feel like there's got to be some truth to it. Why are there people always disappearing every time he's in
That's
town?
very weird. And he just seems
but
like
the ritual part makes sense.
Weirdo. And how he had that alter ego, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Just that interview, he was a little bit.
He was so weird, but that's like Beyonce. Like she has her, you know, whatever alter ego person too. Yeah. What's it called?
You know what's crazy is Beyonce's daughter, who's only like 12, mind you, is
she
like,
looks like
she's
like
in 18. First of all, when she was first born and they showed pictures of her, she did not look anything like Beyonce. She looked like Jay-Z. I need to turn this up. That's Alex's diabetes thing.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. I was just saying, she's like, well, when she was first born, she looked like Jay-Z. Now she looks exactly like Beyonce. So are they doing some weird, like...
That was weird.
I don't know. But she also is just like... She looks like she's like 20.
She looks like she's... Yeah.
And she's 12.
Very weird. Also, I'm just like... Kim Kardashian does the same thing with North. Like, North is like pretty similar in age to my oldest. But she looks like she's like 15. Like she wears so much like makeup and like
I guess like, when you just grow up in that, it's like
I just can't imagine.
All I know is I didn't wear any makeup until I was in high school, and even then it was like mascara and
would your mom not let you, or you just like didn't want to?
I don't know. I think I just wasn't good at it. It just wasn't like my thing. Like even now, I wear.
But you're still not. You're still like don't wear that much makeup.
Yeah,
so.
I only wear it on days we do the podcast. That's why it's like I can't handle it being in my eyes.
Oh my gosh, it's better that way.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, I just can't even believe that world. Like they're just setting their daughters up for,
Honestly, it's terrible. But anyway,
it is.
So that Garth Brooks one was nuts.
Is he if anybody has any more,
did he die? Am I an idiot?
So.
Who's the one who died? Oh, that was Toby Keith.
Yeah.
Again, my husband's gonna be very embarrassed when he listens.
Sad about Toby Keith.
Yeah, very sad.
But
okay, I'm getting that.
But if anybody has any more info about that, like more deep dive, I'd like to hear it. Because
also I really like that girl. I thought she was really funny.
Yeah, she does a lot of videos on. I don't think she does some on the Idaho murders.
Oh, of course.
We won't get into that because
Jamie's obsessed with that.
I'm deep in. That's like the only case I focus on. Okay, backstory. That's when we first moved to Montana. You guys, I grew up in the city. I grew up in California. Moved to just in the woods, no neighbors. And my friend sent me the Idaho murders, and it was horrifying.
It was horrifying.
And I was up the night I watched it. I was up the entire 24 hours because I was like, I have to stay up and keep my kids safe. So I've been hooked ever since.
Were you not? I thought you liked like murder shows. Like, why is this the one that gets you so hard?
I don't watch murder shows anymore.
Oh, you
I don't even watch horror. But so my parents always watched those like when I was growing up, like the Datelines and stuff. Yeah. But this one, I don't know. I think because it was so brutal. I honestly think it's almost like remember that Gabby Petito? I didn't follow that one too like as
Gabby
much.
Petito case, yeah.
I did follow it, but this one, who couldn't because it was everywhere. But
actually, I brought it up to my tattoo artist the other day, and she was like, "The what?" And I was like, "The Idaho murders," and she had never heard of it. And
they've been all over the TV.
I know. I'm like, where have you been for the past like 3 years?
That's crazy, but I think it's just like both those cases. I think they're used to like that energy, that negative energy. It's like when Kobe died, it was like you could almost feel it, and it's like I think they use these things and they push them because there's like an energy. It's bloodshed, and there's like weird energy. Anyway, so it was just one of those things, and then I read so much on it that night, and then I was up all night, and then it was just like I had to know the answers, so that's why I got so invested in that one. And then a friend of mine, Alyssa, she talks about it with me all the time, and so it's just like her and I are always trying to figure it out.
I feel like I've watched like the basic documentaries on it, and you had sent me some YouTubes on it that were interesting, but I am scared to like know too much, so honestly I don't know.
I don't think it's worth it. It keeps me up at night sometimes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I still like some nights I think about it. It was just so brutal that I just like
it was just
and they were
weird.
Asleep, so it's like
it doesn't make sense, and I just have always felt like it just doesn't make any sense.
Stuff doesn't add up. But,
it does not add up.
People who feel this way get a lot of hate because they don't agree with the mainstream. So
we
won't go there because I don't want to get hate about it.
Just like no matter what, if you don't agree with mainstream, you're out. Basically. Yep. Okay.
Pretty much.
Now let's move on.
John Locke.
We're gonna John Locke. Jamie.
Is it John
Jamie?
Locke?
It's Greg Locke. And I literally wrote this down in my notes. I was like, I always call him John Locke from Lost.
I was just gonna say, why is that name in my head? Okay, now Greg Locke. Okay,
Greg Locke. Okay.
So I've been calling him every time you talk about him. I'm calling him John Locke.
I always say that too. That's so funny. Okay,
another good show. Okay,
I know it was a great show. Okay, so this guy, I think he got really well known in 2020 because
he was from California or no?
No, I think Tennessee. I want to say it's Tennessee. But he was very well known for just stepping up and being like 2020 is crazy. And I think he was talking a lot about Israel, the Rapture, all this stuff. So I was super invested in him. I listened to him all the time in 2020. Just thought he was so amazing, which I think like I was saying this to you, I feel like a lot of people wanted that because I think so many people, like, we really thought the rapture was happening in 2020. Like, if you grew up that way, like, oh, this is finally it. Like, we're gonna see it. And so I feel like I just like kind of clung to like pastors who talked about that. But anyway, now I'm like, oh my gosh, he's awful. He's so awful. So let me just play this clip because he is disgusting, in my opinion.
1 sec. Is your time on yours right? Because mine is saying 11:52. It feels like we've been on longer. Is that right?
No, that's what it is.
Okay.
I think we just talked so long before that it feels like...
felt like we were doing it. Okay.
Okay. Let me restart it. So this is him. This is from 2023.
Israel should make the Gaza Strip a parking lot by this time next week. Destroy the whole thing. And anybody that's going to support this Hamas nonsense. So I hope Netanyahu's a leader and he just mows the whole thing down by this time next week. What they ought to do is evacuate up there on the hill and get a great big missile and blow that wicked dome of the rock plumb off of the spot where it's standing right now so we can get that third temple rebuilt and usher in the coming of Jesus.
Disgusting. I can't. Oh, sorry.
No,
isn't that so gross?
I guess I can see like he's trying to say because it's a
so
like a temple on there, so he's trying to say it's wickedness. That's where or not a temple. It's like
and this was October
mosque, right?
9th, 2023. So that would have been that's October 7th, right? Like that's the October 7th. I think that's when they first struck.
Oh, okay.
So this was when it was just Israel was attacked, right? So this was before Israel had retaliated, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, yes, at that point, a lot of us felt that way. But still to say...
Why did they attack in the first place? Was there like just because they're trying to take their land or...
I think so. Honestly, I don't really know.
Yeah, it's like to say we don't agree with the way Israel is retaliating. It's not saying that we agree that what they did originally was okay.
Right.
But because for a pastor, like this is just crazy to me.
I know, for a pastor to say we should just kill everybody in the city when there's still kids there and women and, innocent
other
people,
believers.
Christians. Yes. So it's like, no matter what, you should never want to wipe. Like, for a pastor to be promoting killing people, I probably couldn't even say that word, is just like...
Yeah.
That should never come out of a pastor's mouth.
Yeah. I think what got me when you sent this to me and I watched it, that was alarming, but it's also like at the end when he's like, let's do this so we can get the third temple and usher in Jesus. Jesus doesn't need our help when he comes. He never says in his word, like, I need you guys to make sure all these things come to pass. No, in fact, he tells us, don't focus on the signs.
Okay, yeah, so I literally
so focused.
This morning read in Amos 5:18, woe to you who desire the day of the Lord. It's like, literally, we're not supposed to be wanting that. Like,
no,
the Bible says don't want it. So for you to be like, do it so we can have the rapture is like, yeah. And then it's like I also was just thinking, it's like as believers, we're supposed to be known by how we treat other people and love other people. So I wrote down John 13:34. Just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. So is he promoting love for one another? No. So it's just like, it's so frustrating. And it's like that with everybody who's just like wanting this to happen, wanting this third temple to come, wanting the tribulation to come. You don't care about anybody who's loved. It's like,
no, not at all. It's like,
it's so sad.
It's just confusing because it's just like, not to mention, I think honestly, the more I read, the more, like, we already did, if you've missed it, we did do a podcast where we talked about 1 Thessalonians 4:13 or whatever. But we talked about how the verses that they use for rapture and that they'll be taken before a tribulation, it talks about the last trumpet and stuff. So we know that even wherever that verse falls, it would have been at the end of tribulation, period. So it's like, and I'm reading through Revelation again, and he's writing to the churches and he's telling them, Alyssa and I were talking about this before, but I think like misunderstanding is like 70 AD and what would be the tribulation was when man's wrath was like coming upon Jerusalem and the believers. and God's wrath would come after that. That's how I understand it. I could be wrong. So, but when Jesus is talking to them and he's telling them to flee to the mountains, like he is telling them, he's talking about 70 AD coming, right? So he's telling them like, go and flee. And then like the churches, he's telling them, you're going to endure. Like he tells them your life might be on the line. You go to, let's see, do not be afraid. If you go to Revelation 2, he's talking to the church in Smyrna. Do not be afraid of what you're about to suffer. I tell you, the devil will put some of you in prison to test you, and you will suffer persecution. Be faithful to the point of death, and I'll give you the crown of life. And again, he goes, I'm coming soon. Hold on to whatever you have so that no one will take your crown. Like he's repeatedly telling them, you're going to go through suffering. So I'm just so confused where the like, I mean, he does say, so this is the main verse that I read that they think means he won't, like he'll take them before. Revelations 3:10. Since you have kept my command to endure patiently, I will also keep you from the hour of trial that is going to come upon the whole world to test those who live on the earth. So he does say that, but that's when he's talking about his wrath. He's not saying like you're not going to go through man's wrath, you know?
Yeah.
So I just like it's very hard for me. Like if you want to believe in the rapture, I think that's one thing, but the pre-trib rapture, I just can't get on board with.
It's very strange because it's like, so then do they see it as like Jesus is coming back for their secret rapture, or Jesus isn't coming in the clouds at all? Or is he?
I think that they see it as like a multi-part thing. I think that they think he comes back for a secret rapture, takes them up, and then he comes back and has his like,
which it's like we already went over this in the First Thessalonians. It literally says this happens, like all within like a verse or two. So why is it separated into, especially the pre-trib rapture, 7 years and then 7 years when it just lays it out like it's all going to happen simultaneously. So
it's very confusing to me. Like so why confusing. Like I said, I could kind of understand if you look at that First Thessalonians verse why you think that maybe you don't have to die and you get taken up.
Sure,
but I don't see it for pre-trib anywhere.
No, not at all. It's very, very confusing.
And you know, obviously Alyssa and I believe we're in a different timeline, so in general I don't believe the rapture, but but we're also going to talk about, so I showed Alyssa this video a while ago, but this guy was talking about the First Thessalonians verse, which let me just pull it up. Here we go, everybody. This thing's popping up. Okay, so this verse in First Thessalonians. So I was talking about the reel, right? So we saw this reel and it was talking about how this verse is misinterpreted a lot. So they take it as a rapture. They're caught up. They don't ever have to die. They just go to be with the Lord. I saw this reel talking about how actually historically this was like a common practice that at the city gates, and we see it in Jesus's triumphal entry, that when their king or a victor from war comes, the town will run outside the city gates and they'll meet the victor. So this person was saying that in this verse, the raptura and the word meet, those were in the Greek, it was like common to them. They knew that this was signifying that tradition, that they'd go and meet them halfway. So let's just read this verse real quick. 1 Thessalonians 4:15-17. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. So two things. There's the secret rapture that they talk about. And the problem with it being secret is if you go to verse 16, it says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet of God. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be very secret.
Yeah. Like,
so
no.
What they're saying, what this guy was saying, I found it interesting, and I was looking this up, and I wish I could pull up my notes, but it's not letting me do both at the same time. But I can read from my notes while I'm talking to you guys. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get you back up on here. I don't need this anymore. Oh, shoot. I hope I didn't mess up our recording because I left that.
That's fine.
Okay. So now it's back to us. Good. Let me get my notes pulled up. But I just thought it was so interesting. Why is that not closing? It's so interesting to me that in those 3 verses, there's multiple words in there that in the Greek, they allude to this tradition that they, like, that's the thing. And that's what got me in the first place to start looking into us being in a different timeline, is recognizing that this is written for us, but it's not written to us.
Mm-hmm.
So everything we see in these scriptures, like historically, you can look up these traditions and these things, but it made sense to them because they were living that. That's how their traditions were. That's how their like cities ran. So the city walls were like a common place for them to meet and do these things. And it was the common place to meet and do all kinds of stuff. I mean, you see it time and time again. They talk about the city walls and stuff. But I just think that's interesting because it's like, so from our perspective, if we're in the little season, what this is saying is like, so Jesus told them to go and flee when the tribulation was going to start. 70 AD was going to hit. And that's man's wrath. So he told them to flee and go. And that way they could escape what was happening in Jerusalem. So to me, when Paul's saying this, he's saying like, he's using that tradition, whether that's just like a metaphor of like that tradition that they would have understood or not. But he's saying, we're going to go meet after the tribulation is over, before God lets his wrath out. We're going to go meet him, and he's going to take us up in the clouds. And now I do think it is possible they go up in the clouds, but Alyssa and I talked about this before too. We are all appointed to death. So I personally don't think there's any rapture that occurs where it's like all these people just don't have to die. You can't even go to heaven in your physical body. So,
right.
I mean, not to say God can't do other stuff, but so I was looking up, I do think it's possible that at this point in this verse, when this happens, is it the 144,000? I don't know, but they go to meet the Lord, and he takes them up before he unleashes his wrath on the whole world. And he's taking them up with him because after his wrath is done, the millennial reign happens. So it's like he's taking them up to preserve them. Like he says, that remnant, that 144,000.
Which it says is already there.
Yeah. So he's like, he's taking them to preserve them. So that when the millennial reign comes, they can reign with him. But he's still going to unleash his wrath. So I do think there's a rapture in a sense, but you're not just going to heaven. You're going to reign with him in the millennial reign. Yeah. Right. Which is why it makes more sense with them, because if it was a rapture for our time, like you still have to, I think they all think they're going to heaven, but it's like we still have these time periods in the Bible that are talked about. The millennial reign still has to happen. Satan being loose still has to happen. Right. The judgment has to happen. Like there's still things that happen. It's not like the scripture ends with you're raptured up, everything's done.
See, yeah, that's the problem, is everybody thinks that's the end of the world. But it's like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, there's even still the point more after that.
Yeah, even the point that it makes of it saying like, this is like the worst it will ever be and it will never be again. Why would it say it will never be again if it was the end of the world? You know what I mean? Like, he's letting them know, like, yeah. So it's just, that's just a major part of the problem is 90% of Christians think our world's over after this. So how could we be here?
So they don't even care about the little season stuff. That's part of it too. It's like, who cares about that? Because we're all gone. But it's like, we're not.
Yes. I think like that's got to be a big reason why they want it that way, because then nobody's going to question it.
There's so many historical things. Like I was just thinking, even that 536 AD, the 18 months of darkness and everything. It's like, what would all of that mean? Why would that happen twice in the world? Yeah. If that wasn't what God originally meant it for. Right. He doesn't say in his word that's going to happen twice.
Yes.
So it's like, it already happened once.
Yes, and it's all the things the Bible said were going to happen. So why are we just overlooking that and thinking, couldn't have been that?
Yeah, and so I'm looking at some of these scriptures because this is where with the rapture people, and they use this verse, like I'm not disagreeing with you, like meeting in the clouds, that's not something you would just say. Right. And it's like, I think that is genuine, but you see in the Bible multiple times. So I won't read all of them, but you see in Luke 24 that it says, then their eyes were open and they recognized him, and he disappeared from their sight. So just disappeared. And 2 Kings, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. So it says Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. It doesn't say it says we're meeting him in the clouds. So which is where we see the chariots for the battle are in the clouds. It says you see him coming in the clouds. So you're not going to heaven, you're going to the clouds.
And New Jerusalem is up, right? In the clouds.
Yeah, so it's possible that he just put them, took them after they made it through the tribulation, those who are alive and remain, and put them there for safety until he was done with his wrath. Yeah. And so then you also see in 1 Kings, talks about the Spirit of the Lord carrying you. And then in Acts, you see this guy named, let's see where, Philip was taken and moved certain amount of miles away or something, and just out of nowhere. And then in Ezekiel, which I shared this one when I was reading through Ezekiel with you, the Spirit lifted me up and took me away and took him to another place. But this happens multiple times where it's the Spirit kind of takes you up and moves you, and we don't know what that looks like, but I could imagine it'd be very similar to what he's referencing. It is a spiritual moment,
and I just feel like it's our world just makes all these things so oh, that's a movie, all the spiritual stuff, they just make it all no, that's only happens in movies, and it's no, these things did happen to people back then. So it's just I don't know, I just think that's part of even all the giants and stuff, and it's they don't even want us to know about that stuff, even with David and Goliath. They made that Goliath show. Is that what, or David, was it called just David on Amazon?
Oh, I don't know. Is that the
one
that
newer
that you said
Greg Laurie?
Okay, yeah. I haven't looked at it, but
we watched the first episode and I was just I couldn't get through it because I'm it's showing that there's one giant. It's obviously he's not just one random giant. And this is the problem, is it's just all these things, when you add them all up, it does create a big problem, because it's we're
confusion.
we're not, I just feel it's causing our faith to have an issue, because there's just so much bigger stuff out there than we have any idea.
Well, then you get to places like this with the rapture, where you're viewing the rapture as this one-time crazy spiritual event where you just get caught up, and it's no, multiple times in the Bible, this is happening. These people aren't going to heaven. They're not just all being taken without dying. I mean, even Elijah, we could, if we went into that again, it's
very interesting.
He might have gone to heaven, but his spirit, he came back as John the Baptist. I don't know how all that works, but he came back as John the Baptist and was beheaded. So he still died.
That's very true.
So it's I don't disagree with the people who believe in this rapture, that the wording is interesting, but in my opinion, it's the tribulation happens. You stayed alive. Why would he say who are alive and remain if you didn't survive something crazy?
Yes.
So they survive the tribulation. They go out to meet the Lord. And like I said, the wording, just everything in here is meant for them. Traditions and things that they understood. So we don't need to come up with this idea of what rapture means, because for them, they already understood what it meant. It was this tradition they did of meeting the king. They went to meet him, and it's saying in that verse in 1 Thessalonians, hold on, where did I put it, that he's descending. So it's they're going to meet him, he's descending, they're meeting together. So it is it's a meetup, and he's taking them. And that's such a good point about, I didn't even think about New Jerusalem, but it's almost maybe he did take them up in this spiritual way and put them in a this safe place where he's protecting them. And then when his wrath was over and they were going to reign for the millennial reign,
Yeah. And I think even talking about how it was written for them and not, to them and not to us. What is it? I can never say it. But
for us, but to them. Yeah.
Yes. Even talking about the battles, in Ezekiel 38, is talking about using swords and shields and spears. And why in the world would that be written to us? Would we use those things in battle today? No, obviously not.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if you put that into context throughout the whole, throughout the whole Bible, it's written for those people. Like, if it was written to us, like, it would have been talking about, I don't know, computers,
machine guns. And
I don't know. It's just like weird. Like, obviously it wasn't written to us.
He's not a god of confusion. He's a god, like, he's not like, let me write this Bible as complicated as I can, so you guys have to try to decipher what it really means.
Right.
It's like, if you just think about it in terms of it's for these people, makes so much more sense.
Yes, it really does.
It's just crazy. So I'm also going to share, just so people have the actual, so I don't know how to say them in Greek. That's the problem. But the word for meat in that 1 Thessalonians 4:17, this is as best as I can say it, is apentesis. But it's the technical term that refers specifically to the practice of sending a delegation outside the city walls and gates to receive a dignitary who was coming. So it's just like, just knowing the terms were meant in a way that they only understood. And then also, where'd the other one go? I don't have the other one here, but yeah, I just think it's interesting. And after you brought up the New Jerusalem right now, I'm like tripping out a little more, because it's like, it does make sense to meet in the clouds. If that's where it's at, then it's like you meet in the clouds and you're there until his wrath is over.
Yeah.
And then you get to reign with him, because they're not escaping death. So then they're going to enter the millennial reign, and they still
have to die.
Yeah, but they get that blessing of being like, for them. I mean, it's not for us. So, but it's like for them, that was exciting still.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know if you want to talk about the Mark of the Beast stuff too.
Yeah. So that, when I was looking into all the city gate stuff, again, what was interesting to me about learning about the city gates is how much, like, that really was like a focal point of the city. Not literally like that, but that's where they would meet. They would do like taxes. They would do the market. They would just have meetings outside of it. That's where they'd meet kings. Like, all the things were always happening there. You even see that like in Esther, that's where Mordecai hears about them plotting to kill the king. Like, it's just constant throughout. So again, looking at that and like realizing people who were entering different cities, even if they're from surrounding villages, like they had to stop at the city gate, and they'd kind of have to like give an account for like probably who they were, in some cases who their allegiance was to, and things. So I was just researching this, and it wouldn't be unlikely, like, that's the thing, is like, in our world, we aren't going anywhere where they're asking us, who is your allegiance to? Where are you from? Like, I mean, I guess technically when you travel, you're showing like your ID and stuff. But what's interesting is Emperor Domitian, is that how you say his name? This would have been a little after 70 AD. He was, I mean, it's written about, and I think in the papyrus letters or something, which is like just really old manuscripts from that time. But it wasn't uncommon. Okay, let's start with this. It wasn't uncommon for them to go and to have to like sacrifice to the gods that were in the city. They didn't necessarily have to say we worship these gods, but they might go and sacrifice to them as just like just to pay honor to like the city, I think. But it didn't mean they had to like worship, but that is in a sense worship. But then it would get, to me, it would make sense that it would get increasingly worse. So it's like, at now, not only are you having to do this, but once you're done doing this and you pledge like your allegiance to our gods, then you can have a mark on your forehead or here. And I was also reading, like, so yeah, it could have gone to, sorry, I don't want to skip ahead. It could have gotten to that point where it's like, okay, now, yes, you are going to not just do the sacrifice, pledge your allegiance to our gods alone, and you can receive a mark, or they would sometimes give them these like papers to like say that they had done this and stuff, so that you can go and buy and sell and trade, because right within the city walls would be where the market was. But what is also interesting about that is like, here I go, losing my train of thought. Hold on, let me go through these a little bit. Well, I'll just go into like how it's the parody of a few things. So back in, you see in, I think it's Deuteronomies, that they're talking about this practice that the Jews would do. I believe it was called, let me see if I have it on here. There's an actual name for it, called, I just saw it, of course. Oh, phylacteries. So here's some of the scriptures in Exodus where this other practice of putting scriptures on your head, I think it was in like a little box they'd wear it around their head and then on their arms. But so it's in Exodus, sorry. Exodus 13, and it shall be to you as a sign on your hand and as a memorial between your eyes, that the law of the Lord may be in your mouth, for with a strong hand the Lord has brought you out of Egypt. I think it's in Deuteronomy and here.
Interesting.
And then we see in Revelation too that God, he's telling them like, I will mark you, I think even it says on the forehead, as mine. And so some of the stuff I was reading about this, like commentaries about this, was just saying how this is like a parody. This mark of the beast is like this parody of what Christ is really doing to mark us as his own. And so it's just like a slap in the face again, you know.
Interesting.
And then the other possibility of what it could be. So these are just different possibilities, because everybody, I think when we tell them this is what we believe, they're like, well, what was the mark of the beast? And what was this?
I know.
Which is hard, because it's like, you don't even, like, you could, right now, you're speculating. You've speculated several times. So why can't we speculate about several possibilities?
And it's hard because it's like, I feel like I asked you all these questions when you first told me, because it's like you just want to,
yeah,
I don't know. Like you want to understand like how it could have happened
without you knowing.
Yeah, but I just think, so I think that is like a normal reaction.
Yeah, definitely.
But I
because I'm pretty sure I asked all these too.
Yeah, I just think once you've looked into it for so long, and we've said this, I'm sure, a lot, but it just really comes down to Jesus told them, I'm coming back to you, point blank. Like, that's all you need to know. And it's like, yes, it is interesting to hear all of the things that possibly could have been, you know, all these things, but it's like, that's not what's important. I mean, once you, like, hear it and, like, see it in a different lens, then that's up to you to decide, do you believe the words of Jesus? Or do you want to keep going with tradition?
Because in my opinion, all we should need
is Jesus's words.
Oh,
what's that verse that you were talking about before we came on to?
Something. Oh, yeah, let me share it. Hold on, I just want to make sure I'm on the right thing, and then I'll share this.
That was a good verse.
It is 1 Corinthians, I believe. Okay, 1 Corinthians 1, 8 through 9. He says, or it says, he will keep you strong to the end so that you will be free from all blame on the day when our Lord Jesus Christ returns. God will do this, for he is faithful to do what he says, and he has invited you into the partnership with his son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. And it just says, he is faithful to do what he says. So God, and when Jesus was here and he was saying, like, I'm coming back to this generation, he's faithful. He's good.
Right.
Like, he's going to do what he says.
Yeah.
So this was another, when I was looking into this was another interesting thing, that the word mark in Greek is charagma. I think that's how you say it. But it means an engraving or a stamp, particularly the image stamped into a metal coin, which I saw this in multiple things I was reading. That Greek word was talking about the markings in coins. So typical Roman coins bore the image of the emperor, and which we know because we've seen those coins before with Caesar, and even Jesus when he was talking to the Pharisees, and he's talking about, like, you know, pay unto Caesar what is his and who's on the coin. So I thought that was interesting. And they're saying, like, obviously when you go to pay, you know, you're handing them the coins with your hand. And so a lot of these things are saying, like, does it necessarily have to be an actual mark on your forehead or your hand? No, like, it could just be this metaphor of what they already have heard. Like, Jesus is going to mark you. Like, it's a sign of your allegiance. Like Jesus says, or God says he's going to mark the believers on their heads that they belong to him. And so I just feel like it's another way that Satan has tried to, like they're insinuating he's trying to take what God has designed again, and he's going to try to manipulate it.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I mean, they say like, we already know Nero was like insane, but then Domitian too was like, he thought of himself as a god. And so to get to a point where he was basically saying, you know, especially during that time, because 70 AD hit, Domitian was an emperor after that, so everything was already chaos and awful. They already destroyed the temple. They're killing all these Jews and things. And so it's like, I don't see it being that crazy of an idea that he would come out of that as the emperor and be like, I'm a god too.
Yeah.
Which also kind of goes with the beast and all the things.
It's just, it's so interesting. And I just feel like our world just tries to fit everything to us. And it's like, it's so hard to fit it to us because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And if
it's not for us.
Yes. If you just take it as what it is, it just takes out all the confusion. I always think it's weird how people, I don't know, like we were talking about, JT and Brian were just talking about that Ashley Hayes video of her little season debunking. And
yeah, I'm so glad I watched that finally.
It's really just, what I can't wrap my mind around is all these people, first of all, coming to debunk it when you have zero idea what we believe. Like, if you're going to debunk something, take your time and figure it out before. Like, that's embarrassing to yourself. I'm just saying. But it's like a lot of like influencers and stuff have said how it's like not biblical and you're worshiping Satan if you think you're in the little season. And it's like, I don't get it. Like I was telling you earlier, it's almost like, you know, like the Bible talks about the great delusion and the end times of the tribulation. Almost like that's just the way in my mind that I see it, because how can you possibly say that part of scripture is not biblical? How can you possibly say that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like somebody has to live through it. Whether you want to just like put it, oh, it's only going to be a super short time. It doesn't matter how short the time is. Somebody has to live through it. So for you to say it's not biblical, that's not biblical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like we were talking about it earlier, and it's like, I'm okay with you saying, I don't think you guys are right. We're not in that part of the timeline. But you can't say it's unbiblical. It's literally in there.
It's in the Bible. So it's like, that's why I'm like, it's weird. It's like,
it is weird.
When they read it, what are they thinking? Like, what are they reading? It's like they're almost
we can't just decide because we're going to be raptured and not live through it that suddenly it's not biblical because it doesn't matter at that point, is what they're saying.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just like, I feel like we're reading two different things. And it's just like, to me, this just goes more with we are in this time frame because it's so hard for people to even comprehend that people are going to have to live through this. Like, why is it this challenging? Like, it's in the Bible just like any other part. So, it's just like,
and just like how everybody's so fascinated with decoding Revelations and they're like trying to make it work for us. But we were talking about this before, that when John was on the island of Patmos, he was a prisoner there. So he was writing this letter to them of these visions. He was writing it in Greek. He wasn't going to write it so the Romans could understand it. Like he was coding it so that he could pass it through to them without the Romans being like, you know, aware of what he was really writing. And it's like, but it still, all the language, just like we're talking about here with the city gates, like all the language, we are having a hard time decoding it to make sense for us because it's not for us. It wasn't complicated to them. Like even when they received the revelation, like there was parts and codes, but it would have made sense to them. It would have made sense to them that the beast was like an emperor during that time. And like just all the things. It doesn't.
I mean, in Revelation 1, like he literally says, Paul,
with you.
Brother in the tribulation.
Yeah.
And then I would love to do this. I should have done this. Count how many times it says, like, I am coming soon. It says that. I don't even know.
I mean, right here,
over and over and over.
I have Revelation 2 open when he's writing to the churches, and he says the verse that they use for the rapture being for them, the verse 10 and chapter 3, since you have kept my commands. So they say that's the verse that says he'll keep them from the hour of trial. But then verse 11 says, I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have so that no one will take your crown. So yeah,
or
it's
even
like constant.
Like, okay, I have my Bible right here. Even, okay, the last chapter of Revelation. I mean, let's see, I have it underlined just in the last part of the chapter. What must soon take place? I am coming soon. Behold, I am coming soon. Surely, I am coming soon. That's in one chapter of Revelation. Yeah. And then, then not to mention, like, do not seal up this book. The time is near.
Yeah.
After it already said,
that was a big one for me.
That's a very big one. And I think for people to dismiss that, the whole Daniel prophecy to me was that huge one, because it's like, it gives you a timeline. It never talks about a gap. And then it literally says, don't use it. It's not for you. Then less than 500 years later in Revelation, it's time. Don't close this book. So it's like, how much, I don't know how much more clear it can be. And that's why it's like alarming to me. Like, what is it? And I just see it as like some kind of like delusion. It's just like, how are we?
That's why I find this stuff fascinating, because it's like, if we could understand their history more, and just because I think automatically when you have a different eschatology, they're going to ask all those questions. So I think it is important to like kind of understand the different possibilities. Like this guy's just talking about when he's writing to the churches in Revelations, it was during a time when like the emperor worship was a thing. That's why they had their faces on coins. Like they wanted to be worshiped. They wanted to be gods. And so a lot of these churches started to fall into that. And like in under Domitian, like I was talking about, the Roman citizens were required. I'm trying to find the part what it talks about. Let's see. So the burning of the pinch of incense was rewarded by a certificate that you got renewed annually. So it's like you are burning incense, you are sacrificing to them as a god or to other gods that they worship there, and then you were given a certificate. Like, so it was, if you couldn't produce that certificate, then they knew you were a Christian. So it's like those things were already happening where they were separating them. So it would make sense that like it would get to a point where it was like, okay, you're not just now being like separated Christians and non-Christians. You aren't going to be able to do this anymore unless you worship me. You can't come and buy and sell in our city gates.
It's the same thing with I'm forgetting their names, but when they have to bow, I always think of the VeggieTales version where they have to bow down to the silver or the gold bunny or whatever. What is that? Which Real Story?
Is that one? Yeah.
I can't even remember, but it's like they have to bow down to their god. And they can't pray. Well, that's actually a different story. But they have to bow down. Yeah, and then they get thrown in the fire. So it's like there were definitely times, or like Daniel in the lion's den, you weren't allowed to pray, and then So you could see that going on in like the Bible
which of course things like are happening now in like other places. But it's just like this was happening, and it's talking about like Revelations. Like you said, the book was no longer sealed up because the time was at hand. And then it says that it will be like birthing pain. So it should be this like build up. I mean, we've given birth. We know what it's like. It just gets consistently worse and worse and worse. And then it happens. Yeah. Okay. We don't see that in our time. We've been around. We're both, you're 34. You just turned 34. I'm going to be 34. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But we're in our mid 30s, right? So it's like, and we have seen these constant like ups and downs of a bunch of stuff will happen. Lives. A bunch of stuff will happen and then it will die out. It's like false labor.
That's a really good point. This is not
real.
Yes, that's a good point.
But it's supposed to be a consistent, but we've seen this, and it's not even like different signs. It's the same. It's like we have all these natural disasters, new signs of marks of the beast, and like supposed people who rise up that we think will be the Antichrist. It's a constant same signs we're seeing.
I mean, you have to think back even in the 1900s. It's like they had to live through 2 world wars. You know, like they had to live through really, really, really hard times. Yeah. We haven't even had to live through anything that crazy. So it's like, if anybody, it should have been them. You know, like in the 1900s, it's like they lived through so much. And what have we lived through? Like, okay, things almost get bad and then it's fine, you know?
Yeah. Like 2020, I literally was like, it's never going to go back to normal. Yeah. And here we are, and things are normal. I'm back to doing everything I used to do. No mask, no nothing.
Yeah, it's just very strange.
It is, and it's just like, I just feel like, I don't know, I don't even know how to phrase it. I just feel like we just make everything about us, and it's just, it's not. It's just not. It was not written to us, and all those things. That's the thing too. Is like we can prove that a lot of the things that were written about in Revelation did happen in history, and that the timeline is skewed, and like, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, that birthing pains, it's like, the wars. I was going to say the wars and rumors of wars. We talked about this in a previous one too. Like before 70 AD hit, they were in like a time of wars weren't just happening left and right. So there was a time of peace. Since we've been born, I don't know a time when there wasn't some kind of war or something going on, you know? Yeah. So we're not hearing wars and rumors of wars. We're constantly in them.
Yes.
You know, so...
I just think too, like that documentary that we talked about in the last one was just so eye-opening for me, just to see like how much the media can like change things. You know what I mean? I just feel like, so it just again goes back to history. Like we can't trust our history because who knows what actually happened. If they were able to deceive people during that time, they're able to deceive us now with all the technology we have. You just can't take history for what it like they tell us. And I think, you know, like we've said over and over again, that's such a big one for people. Well, our history books don't tell us Jesus returned. Well, they're not going to, because Satan would want you to be deceived. I know. It's like that would exactly be the point. So if you
they
can't
control the history books, they control what you learn in school, they control everything.
So it's like, if you're not willing to see how controlled our world is, you're never going to get there. Like you're just not. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I just think it's crazy to me. It's crazy. We always say it's crazy
because it is so crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts. I just like it's, and that's why I do get some people who it's like, it's almost too much. They can't handle the idea that they've been lied to about so many things, you know?
I know.
There's something else I was going to say when you're saying that.
It's like, if you don't say it right away, it's just gone. It's such a bummer.
You know, did I send this to you where they were saying like moms, since like they get interrupted like 400 something times a day. And that's why we have mom brain, because every time we have a thought, we get interrupted. So now even when we're not around our kids, it's like we just can't help but get in that mode.
It's just like crazy. I don't know. Our poor brains. You know, I hope that one day when my kids are more independent, my brain will like slowly...
I guess
speaking of kids, I'm hoping that my brain will slowly come back and I won't forget my thought every 10 minutes. But
I don't know. I'm not hopeful.
I'm not hopeful.
I already have a bad memory, so it's like it's only
I know, I do too. Yeah, it's terrible. Something about it. We'll just say it's environmental. We'll blame the environment for why we're
brain. Yeah.
Although my husband's not our fault like this. It's just women. We're the only ones affected, I guess.
It's because they don't get interrupted a million times. Like it doesn't. It's not even just during the day. I get woken up all night.
Right? It's like it never ends. So okay, yeah. So we were gonna go over church and how. Sorry, we're like all over the place right now. I feel like in this community, and no judgment from us by any means, a lot of people don't go to church, and like that's your personal preference, like whatever. I have, it's funny, my son heard the other day that somebody didn't go to church, but they are a believer, you know? And he's like, oh, that means they're not a Christian. And I was like, no, that does not mean that. Like, you don't have to go to church. And so like, it's not like, that's not your salvation. Yeah. But anyway, so I feel like Jamie brought up that we should talk about this, because I feel like it does get a bad rap. And it's like, we do talk about the church in a lot of ways, because I do think that they have a lot of things wrong. But I do feel like this is something I've like thought about so much in the last year of like figuring all this stuff out, and like, does God want us to go? But I do think it's still good. Like, I think it's still good reminders of just like our daily walks, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're gonna go and necessarily figure something new out every single time that you've never heard, but it's just like good reminders. And to like the worship, you're not gonna have that. Yes, we can listen to worship music, which I always have worship music on, but like it's different when you're worshiping with fellow believers, you know?
And I think too, it's just like, we're not going to agree with everybody. So especially in like, we have to understand that the eschatology, that isn't the main point for one, but it's also the rapture idea has been so heavily pushed. Like it's hard to wake up to that. And even the, the moon landing and all that, like they shouldn't be deal breakers. And honestly, if all the truthers are leaving the church, there's not going to be an opportunity for them to hear from anybody different ideas. And like, we should be, especially in this community, we should be okay with hearing other people's views, even if we don't agree with them. It's like, I never would have come to some of the conclusions I've come to without having conversations with people of things I didn't agree with, like initially,
Right. And I think you brought up a good point too, of like, we should never, because it is sometimes it could be like prideful of like, well, I already know more than they know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't want to be so prideful that we're not willing to like listen to people who don't believe the same as us. Because I think there's a lot of things I listen to that, no, I don't fully agree with everything, but like I can decide, through the Holy Spirit, like what is correct and, what's not. But I think that was a good point too, of just like, we should be around other believers and not put ourselves up higher than them.
Yeah, I think like in this community, I just think it's really hard. Like I've been feeling this. So like 2020 hit, and Alyssa was feeling some of these things about not knowing if she wanted to attend church this year, but I had gone through that. Like in 2020, our church closed down for one, so we didn't really have a choice. And then after that, we had moved to a different area, and so we didn't go for like a year. And I was going through that where I was like, I just don't like anything they're talking about there. It's so like watered down. And then I feel like the Lord did bring me to this place where it's like, I'm going more so Alex, actually. He was like, we need to go because like, we need to show the kids this is for honoring the Lord. And like, we do need to be around community. And he's like, he more so than me, I think in the past few years, it's just, there's like this heaviness and like darkness creeping into the truther community where it's like it's okay to expose the darkness, but if we're not filling it back, like that hole back up with the light of Christ and like his truth, then it's all for nothing. So it's like, who cares if we keep exposing this darkness if we're not exposing it with his light and his truth? And it's like, and it can get heavy, and it can get to this place where I think it is making a lot of us prideful, like including myself. Like in 2020, I was just so like, you guys don't know anything, and it's like, that is not okay. Like,
right.
And like, there are like, especially I feel like the past like month or two, my pastor is very much, in fact, I don't even know if I told you this, a couple weeks ago, he's very into space. He like says it. He's like, I just love space. I love studying space. And so he does this like big thing on stage where he's like standing there, and it was like the takeoff of the like a spaceship launch. It was like 5. It got so loud in there. It like freaked me out. All of a sudden it was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It got so loud. And he's like, wasn't that cool? And he's like, I just love space. So he's like talking about it. Anyway, so obviously I don't know. I don't agree with all that. But like,
well, I think I've said that one of our pastors literally said, if you believe in flat earth, like, you're stupid. Something along those lines. And I was
forgot you told me that.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we don't agree on that. That's for sure.
But it's like, there's so many things he's shared, and like, our pastor just seems like truly so humble and kind, and like, he shows the love of Jesus so well. Like, he's always going throughout our church, and our church is pretty big. There's multiple campuses, but he goes throughout the church, like before and after, and he's talking to people. He like knew when we first started going that we were new. Like, that's how, and so it's like, and to me, like, that's showing the love of Christ, like the verse you were sharing earlier. It's like, that's what we're called to do. And I've gotten so much out of church, just like to be encouraged. And like you were saying, like, the bottom line is that we're supposed to be in God's word on our own, just like we always talk about. Like, the only way for us to know if they're preaching something that isn't of Christ, or any influencer sharing videos, is to be in God's word ourselves.
I just read, I forget where it was. I'm reading the Bible chronologically right now, which I've not done. So now I'm like confused where I'm even reading. But it was just talking about like always be testing the spirit, you know? So it's like, I think, yeah, I mean, we need to go to church, your kids. We need to go to church and then test it, you know, like don't just take everything they say. But I think there are good churches and I think there are bad churches. Yeah. So I'm not saying every church you should just go to anyone. I think you should test the spirits, you know, like even.
For sure. I mean, even when we first moved here, we went to a different church, and I won't put it on blast, but it's a pretty big church out here. And we went twice, and both my husband and I, like, you know, we're trying to figure out, and we were like, came back and we're talking about it. And we're like, it's something just feels off here. And then like I did a little more research after that, and there was a lot of things that I don't.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's like the church you were going to and the church I used to attend here, they're like BFFs.
Oh, are they? Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, they're really close. Interesting. That's when we stopped going was 2020 because it's like, whoa, what's happening here? So I think like, and you could go to a church and you could change your mind and decide that's not the church for you. Like things could change, but I think to try, do I say go to like a Calvary Chapel? No, probably not, because you're probably going to hear end times all day long.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your eschatology, then go for it.
Then go for it.
If you're going to if it's going to make you annoyed, then go find something else.
Yes, I just think if you are like praying about it, God's going to bring you to the church, you know?
And there are a lot, like, first of all, there's not going to probably be a church with a little season eschatology. Like,
no, unfortunately, I feel like I've looked a lot and have yet to find one. So
yeah, I mean, there's a church out here. The only reason we don't, Pastor Chuck Baldwin, he is the pastor of Liberty Fellowship out here. And my stomach's growling so loud, so sorry if you guys.
I don't hear it. It's fine.
But like, I really enjoy listening to him, and obviously, I don't agree with everything he says, but.
Because he's preterist.
But there are churches, and honestly, we probably would go to his church, but they meet in a they were, I don't know if they changed, but they meet at a hotel, and they don't have like a children's
I didn't know
setup and stuff.
I know you said they didn't have kids, but I didn't know it was a hotel. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure that's why they don't have children's ministry because of that. So obviously that would be difficult with 4 kids, 6 and under. So we're not doing that. But I mean, I just feel like we are supposed to be like a breath of fresh air, you know, sharing truth. And that doesn't always mean, like I was just telling my husband this morning while I'm reading through Revelations, like Jesus isn't like, he's truthful. He says, like, what did he say to them? He's talking to the church of Laodicea, talking about them being lukewarm. I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. You say I am rich, I've acquired wealth, and do not need a thing, but you do not realize that you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. And he's just like, he's so honest. So it's like, yes, like we have to learn how to be loving, like Alyssa was talking about earlier. And I think the truther community we're so on the side of we want to get the truth out there that we forget about the side of love, where Jesus also brings in, like, I can wipe away your sins and I can make you new. And like, I have a better life for you. Like, I think we sometimes forget those truths of like Jesus dying and cleansing us, but we just want to get the truth out there. And then it makes us not want to go to church. It makes us not want to be in community. It makes us not want to be around people who don't agree with us. And that's just not realistic. And I don't think that's good for us. Like I said, I wouldn't have come. Yeah. Like how we wouldn't have come to these conclusions. When I first was talking to you about Little Season, it's like, if you hadn't been willing to listen, you wouldn't have come to this conclusion, you know? So, and same for myself, like the earth and stuff. When my husband first presented that to me, it's like, what was I just going to shut him out and be like, no, we're not ever talking about this. We don't agree. And it's like, no, it's okay if you disagree.
I think even like for being on like our side to the other side, like, do I agree with all their eschatology and their support for that state? And it's like, no, but I want to be willing to like listen and like let other people share their thoughts and opinions with me. You know what I mean? Like, I think just we need to be able to talk about things, and we don't always have to agree, but at least we should be able to share these things.
Yeah. And it's not like every pastor is Like if it's the eschatology you're worried about, it's like not every pastor is hardcore like some of the ones we've shared,
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the church that we attend now doesn't. I mean, they have made a few more comments recently, like the last days. They'll kind of just say that.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like, I can deal with that. They could be the last
Yeah.
days of Satan's little season. So
Yeah,
I'll take it that way.
exactly. That's what's
It's
so
just like,
funny about this is it's like
it's so similar.
it is so similar, and it's like we just believe we're in a different part of the timeline, you know?
Mhm.
So it's like it's so hard
We'll never
because
get it. We'll just never
no,
get it.
and it's like even, you know, we were talking about the possibilities of that verse in First Thessalonians and what it could mean. And it's like we don't have all the answers, but neither do you. You can't tell me definitively like what the rapture is going to look
Exactly.
like and how it's going to happen. You can show me these verses, which every verse they show, when I go to read it, I'm like, it's not saying anything about a pre-trib.
No, I've never got that. Never. Even when
Like
I
again, when I'm reading
thought
through
that
this
way.
and he's saying this, like the tribulation is the time of man. Like,
It's very, I mean, we've obviously come to this conclusion for a reason because this is the thing that makes the most sense to us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know where I was going with that, Jamie. Oh my gosh, I had a whole
That's
thought in my
okay.
head.
Happens to me too.
There was something I was going to get out.
Oh gosh.
It took
I really would like to do a full like Bible study just through Revelations and talk about all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what there was something I was gonna maybe let me find it. Here's a question. Me and my husband were talking about this. So when
Are you asking me or are you asking everybody?
I'm asking you and everybody.
And everybody,
I wanna hear
okay.
your thoughts. I might have already shared. I probably have already shared this with you. But in Revelation 21, I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. Hold on, that was not it. Oh, here it's the very first verse. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. But it's saying the new heaven and the new earth. So it's like, are we, after everything's said and done, and there's a new heaven and a new earth, are we not living in heaven? Are we living on the new earth? Why would he make a new earth if we're not going to inhabit it? Or is it possible that there's like,
you know, it's funny.
Heaven and earth are kind of, you can enter both. I don't know.
My explanation is going to come from my mom, which is dispensationalist view, but
but it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it still makes sense.
Yeah, they know things. This is why it's okay to have.
I know
they do know things.
She would always explain that, and it's funny because she was explaining it to my son like right before I came to this new conclusion, and she was telling him, this is a side note, she told him about the rapture, and then he was like, I'm pretty sure I had a nightmare right after, and I was like, don't tell him about this.
I know. See, it's terrifying. It's trauma.
It is trauma. Okay, anyway, she's always talked about how he's gonna make like a new heaven and a new earth, and we're gonna like, this could be wrong. This is what I've always believed. And now that you said it, now I'm going to be thinking about it. But she always said like we would go to heaven, right? And then he recreates the new earth. And then that's where we spend eternity. But I don't know if that's right. But that's the way I always like learned.
But he said a new heaven and a new earth.
And a new earth. Yeah, so that is interesting. Because God wouldn't stay separate from us, like stay in heaven and make us go to.
Which makes me think like after, I feel like this light just got way more bright all of a sudden. It's hurting my eyes. It seems like the wrath of God comes, millennial reign, and then
because it's like
no, when the New Jerusalem's coming down again, like it's going to come down again for the final battle. I think those of us who are with him, even that Esdras, those who remain, it's like I almost wonder if we go, but we have to die. That's the thing I can't quite figure out, is like our physical bodies can't, like we become spiritual when we're in heaven, just a spiritual body. So it's like we have to have that. But I feel like maybe we're all on the New Jerusalem, and then I'm just speculating, everybody. And then
We're trying to figure this out.
Yeah. And so maybe when we're on the New Jerusalem, he's creating the new heaven and new earth, and then New Jerusalem. Because then it says, I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. So maybe then it's coming down, and then we inhabit the earth again. Free of sin, free of all the ickiness.
I guess I'm just thinking like the new heaven thing. Like, what does that mean? Because it's like I almost think like, would God stay in heaven and we be on the earth? But I think the whole point is that we're with him, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's like New Jerusalem, like maybe we are on earth, but we can go to him to like worship. Kind of. I don't know. That's kind of
also,
like
this just proves biblical cosmology to me again, because it's like nowhere in here is he saying, talking like there's a new heaven and new earth. That's it. We're not talking about all these planets, these possible places we could live that have life out there.
I can't.
Okay, it's definitely getting brighter, this light.
I think we've just been on here too long. Like my eyes on my light.
Put that up a bit.
You guys, what we have to go through to have this light on us through podcasting.
I have a headache every time.
Every time.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know. But maybe we're just sensitive.
I don't know. I want to, if anybody has any thoughts on that, like I've been thinking about it for a while. That's what I love. That is what I love about this community is
we can just talk about things.
Yeah. It's like most of the things we say on here, like today I presented a lot of historical evidence of things that were happening during that time period that would have been relevant during that time period. And those are like things that we can share. And those are like facts,
facts.
Not facts that was the mark of the beast and that,
but facts
that is
of
how
like
the rapture, but what was going on.
Through, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's like, we should be able in the Christian community, we should be able to present those and say, well, this, like, what about this? And like, we should be able to say things like, this wasn't written to us. So let's try to look at it from their perspective. That should be okay. That's what I love.
Okay.
Just being able to speculate about versus like, we don't have to be right. And that's the best part is it's like, we could talk about
we can
it.
just talk about things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I was going to say, I posted on the story, was it yesterday, that interview with that Tucker Carlson and the nun from...
That's a nun? Is that a woman?
Yeah, it was a woman.
Oh.
Her name was Mother something.
Oh my gosh.
I know, I did think it was a man as well. I was very confused. But she was saying, it's just like so crazy because again, like I wanted to bring this up, but maybe we should bring it up next week. But just like
bring it up again.
Yeah. Just like, okay. So the whole thing with like not realizing we're in a different covenant, right? Like a lot of the church still almost hold us to the old covenant.
Yeah.
And
which is disrespectful to Christ.
It's disrespectful.
And it makes sense that that community would be pushing that because they don't believe Christ is the Messiah. So that does make sense. But anyways, go ahead.
But it's just okay, like even with what I almost called him John Locke again. Greg Locke was saying like destroy these people and kill them. And it's like it's almost like they're still in Bible, like Old Testament times, like we're okay with killing people because it's like a holy war, right? Like it's like it's fine because it's for God. And it's like God is
the old covenant.
It's the old covenant. It's different. And so, just like that interview was very interesting because it gives you a point of view of somebody who lives over there right now and what they're going through. Again, what the media is telling us is like not the same as what is facts.
Yeah.
And so just she was talking about they want to, they eventually want to destroy the mosque. That's where the second temple was. And it's like, that's going to cause a huge issue, obviously. So it's just like all these things that like, we're just promoting war. Like that's what the church is doing is promoting
so we can have a third temple. So Jesus can come back and rescue us.
Yes.
Which like at the end of the day, he doesn't need our help. And he nowhere in there is he saying, help me out by killing all these people so I can come back already. Like, I don't remember Jesus ever saying that. So
I think it's just like, so it's like we're not accepting that like we are now Israel, all of us who choose to follow God. And now we're still saying we could kill people in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
When there's fellow believers who live there, it's like.
And it's just like, Jesus says we're in a new covenant. So why don't we just I can't grasp it.
I can't. It's just bizarre to me.
Because to me, it just like thinking this way, I just feel like kind of is like spitting in Jesus's face for what he did on the cross. So
it is. I just think like all of the verses about loving, we're supposed to be loving. We're supposed to love one another and take care of each other. I mean, that's the whole New Testament is telling us how to treat each other. And you still have pastors saying to kill people in the name of Jesus. And it's like, that's what he came to say not to do, you know, like he came to change that. So it's just very strange. It's like, it's bad in so many ways to not accept the new covenant. And I don't know. I just can't get it. I can't understand it. But that interview was very good. I would definitely recommend watching it. I just think like after coming off of the last podcast of all the history stuff that's been changed, she had a lot of very interesting points of ways we take like different dynamics of people, like what we're told they are and what is factual there. So it's just all around. I thought it was
well. Then you have pastors who are pro that state, and they're just spewing out like that it's all AI. Every bad picture or story you read is AI to manipulate the narrative. And it's
that is what a lot of people are telling me, and it's like, okay, because you don't want to believe it, it's just fake. Like, you know, that's facts. There's a reason they're not allowing those things to come through on the news. It's not because it's fake. It's because, and you can tell, like me and my sister were talking about it yesterday. You can tell when something's AI. Like you can tell.
Yeah.
These are not, you know, it's like, I just think people are like, so like, again, they can't accept it.
Yeah. And we said this at the beginning, like, we're not saying like what happened, what initially started it off, Hamas or whatever. We're not saying that what they did was right. Like, I'm not defending either side of like wickedness, you know, but it's like this killing in the name of creating a third temple. Like, that is not scriptural.
No.
We don't need to aid
and
fulfilling prophecy.
Right. And I do think, I think in that Ashley Hayes video, she was talking about how it's unbiblical to say we are the third temple. Didn't she say that?
Oh, I didn't catch that, but
she said
I did hear
something
talking about the third
it.
temple.
I actually took a picture of it because I literally read it yesterday.
How is that unbiblical when the Lord, like Jesus says it?
I didn't take a picture of the reference, but it says, do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's spirit dwells in you? For God's temple is holy and you are that temple. It's like, you know, it's just, it literally says we are the temple. So, and okay. And then I was even thinking, this is like going off on a whole different tangent, but
no, it's fine.
So from the first temple to the second temple, I looked it up. It was like 70 years. Which means they probably started building it pretty quickly after the first temple was destroyed because it took them so long to build things, I would assume.
Yeah, once they were out of captivity, then...
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so it was 70 years between the first and second temple. Why would now there be why would we have a 2,000-year gap for this third temple to be... That doesn't even make sense.
And prophecy...
We are the temple.
It's like, why would he prophesy? Why would God prophesy about another temple when his son already did what needed to be done? I get
to sacrifice him.
They're always just saying like somebody when one of the red heifer things, I had commented like, good thing we don't need this since Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice. And someone said, we do need this because it's part of prophecy. It's not for the sake of us being cleansed of our sins, but we do need it for prophecy.
Did you respond?
I think I did. I gave a bunch of scripture.
Oh, okay.
And then she never responded. So maybe she thought about it.
Maybe she's looking into it.
But it's like, it still doesn't make, I understand what they're trying to say. Like they're trying to say, we get that we don't need it for a cleansing anymore, but we still need it for prophecy. No, why would God, like, he wouldn't. That the problem
sense.
is that prophecy comes from the Talmud. Like, they still think they need it. They don't believe Jesus is the Messiah. So they still think that they need this temple because they still think they need the Messiah to come. So it does make sense for them and their own religion. This is not, when you believe Jesus is the Messiah, we don't need the third temple. So if there is a third temple, it's not our prophecy because God would never require it.
Yes. So then it's like you're pushing for somebody else's religion.
Mm-hmm.
You're not pushing for God. Like you're pushing.
I mean, that's in the Talmud. They're the ones who
Mm-hmm.
say there still needs to be a temple rebuilt and that there needs to be the red heifer cleansing ceremony.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
It is.
I don't know. It's just like it's so much support for them that it's like you realize you're supporting them more than like what God said to a point. You know, like you're not supporting God. You're trying to make all these things happen for yourself.
Yeah.
By ignoring so much of the New Testament.
I really like that. When we get into Revelation 20, Alyssa and I were listening to Pastor Chuck Baldwin's sermon on it, but I really like that part where he's talking about the main verse they use is like, bless Israel so you can be blessed, or whatever. And he's like, they're basically just turning Israel into their lucky bunny foot. Like, you know, you like this magic charm of like, oh, if we bless them, we'll be blessed. And like we said in our last one, it's like, you don't care about them because at the end of the day, if a third temple is built and an Antichrist comes, it's going to be destroyed and Israel's going to be destroyed. And those who don't come to Christ will be destroyed, but you won't care because you're going to be gone. And that's not okay.
Right.
Like we shouldn't want prophecy to be fulfilled just for the sake of us being taken away, because then we're neglecting what God called us to do. And that's to go and make disciples of all nations and preach the gospel, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even like the verse I said in the beginning, like, woe to you who desire the day of the Lord. We're not supposed to be desiring that.
Yeah, and he says God a wicked generation seeks signs.
Like, he told us not to do it, yet this is what the churches are. Come. It's like, no, you're doing exactly what God told you not to do. Yeah. So, it's sad.
And I think they do it in the name of like, what's that? The thief in the night, because they're like, you have to be prepared. You have to know. And it's like, I don't think that's what he meant by that. He's just saying like, I think he was just saying like, live a life that is pleasing to me because I could come back. Oh, I also was going to say it could be because he's like constantly telling him like, you need to be prepared for my return, because he was like, if that First Thessalonians verse is correct, like maybe they were having to be watchful of like what's happening in the sky, because we have to be ready to go meet him so that he can take us up here so that he can destroy. So maybe it was that they did have to literally be watchful and aware and not asleep, because they were waiting to see him coming in the clouds so that they could meet him. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, there's just so many thoughts, but
so many.
I'm just like, I do randomly think about like the Battle of Gog and Magog and like what's that going to look like, and are people going to get it? I'm just like so curious. Are we going to see it in our lifetime?
I think they're just going to either like say it's AI, because I envision like all the weird creatures that we've learned about, you know, that we're like the Nephilim hybrids, all these things. I think they're all going to end up coming out of the woodworks.
You think so?
And like, I think so. Like he gathers his armies and they're like
bright, like the sands of the sea.
The sand of yeah. So it's like, I think it's going to be people too, but I think it's going to be so crazy looking and so like mythological that people are just going to chalk it up to AI or something, you know?
Yeah. And again, trying to make us like not believe in anything spiritual. You know what I mean? Like not believe in the Nephilim, and
which is why I think AI is being pushed so much. Because, and you know, I know there's a lot of there's other truthers out there who still believe the rapture, or maybe not the rapture, but just that they don't believe this little season eschatology, but so they're still, you know, looking for what the Antichrist might be. And I think a lot of them do think it's AI, but I just saw that My Lunch Break is putting out an episode where he's talking about AI isn't new. And I've always thought this, like all of our, especially if you're in this community and you've looked into Tartaria stuff, then you know that like our technology is not new. Like everything that we've gotten is because I think they've slowly allowed us to have it again. Yeah. And so I don't think AI is new. So I don't think that's the Antichrist, because I think it's always been around in a sense.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
it's just being allowed to come out more.
Yeah. And I think it would make sense if the battle is going to be something like otherworldly. It would make more sense if like we're coming out with all this AI that does all this weird fake looking stuff, and then you see all these weird creatures or this weird battle happening in the sky. Your first thought is going to be, oh, that must be AI. especially
you're
if you're thinking that
We're
you're not even thinking God can make God.
dispensationalists. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
It's very weird.
I feel like I just want to always give all the different possibilities. Like, I honestly don't know. And I don't know that it's that important that we know the exact mark of the beast. To me, it's like, it could have been, it's like, I think we've made a bigger deal of it because I guess maybe it's not a bigger deal to us because it's like he told them to be watchful for it and don't get it. And so people think that's going to be part of their lifetime. They want to be very mindful of it. So it makes sense.
We're not going to get a mark of anything for allegiance to anybody. So
yeah, I'm not getting my credit card microchipped into my skin.
No, like, I don't know. We're not like dumb and we're not going to go do stupid things like that.
Yeah,
but it's
for
just
goodness sake, we don't even get the.
I know.
I don't know what I don't want to. You're gonna have to.
That's a good one. So I like that one.
But it's like we don't get those. So why am I gonna get a microchip put in my skin? You know,
it's just like bizarre. People are.
Yeah.
I think like that is definitely a worry. People think we're just gonna be so blindly following like everything's like we actually are the opposite of blindly following anything. So
that's why you guys are mad at us all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not gonna be what happens. But
I would just like people to get out of this, like thinking of that Ashley Hayes video and
it's the most frustrating
some other influencers. There's been a few that are like, this is unbiblical, it's of the devil. You guys, we are reading God's word. It's in God's word. And like we said, if it's not our season, if we're not in this season, fine. But somebody
has to be there. Mm-hmm.
So why not at least talk about it so people understand this is a normal thing that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's not going to happen. If you believe God's word, you have to believe it's in there for a reason.
I know.
I think she even said something like, it's only one chapter. And it's like, okay, well, your rapture verses, you only have one, basically.
Yeah.
Thessalonians. That's the only one I ever get.
Right. So it's like, when she said that, I was like, seriously? Like,
yeah. I just want them, and, she has, like, I will say that I've seen a lot of her videos, and I feel like she does preach the gospel a lot. So I'm thankful that she's using it to preach the gospel. I think I've only
seen the bad ones, so.
I think she is preaching the gospel, which is great. So,
yeah.
But it's just like, it's just the debunking things that it's like, but you're not even, have you watched anybody's videos? Have you had a conversation with anybody who talks about the little season?
I know that JT and Brian were like, send this to her. And we're like, come on with us. I would love to see that interview, like with her.
And I don't even blame her or the other girl that they also wanted on one time. I don't blame them for not wanting to go on.
But at least talk
have
to
a
them. Like,
but yeah, just have privately.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
But like at least we have valid points, especially because both of them in particular, I think they both are biblical cosmology, right? And
I don't think she is, but I know K-Podge is.
Oh, well, but it's interesting that you can come, we've talked about this before, that you can come to that conclusion of those things, but then this is too far out.
It is. Yeah, because for us, that was like such a stepping stone. So it's like weird that you're like so against this.
Yeah, even that other guy we follow, he's kind of not nice about Little Season stuff one time. I don't remember his name.
Wait, who?
He's the one, he speaks a lot about the state of Israel and stuff. I can't remember his name either. He was a little bit snooty about
Olive. Something Olive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little snooty about
it. But I don't think he also, I think, is I don't think he is a biblical cosmology, and he thinks it's like dumb. And it's just like, it's weird how people can come to these certain realizations, but not other ones. And not even just not like, come to them. It's like, these are dumb.
Yeah, it's weird to like be on this side of everything for so long that I'm like, why do you think it's so weird? Like, my brain doesn't even get it now. Like, why are you so offended?
Yeah, if you already are starting to question things, like, why is this too far? Because you don't think
I just feel like I'm normal now.
Raptured? Like, I don't know.
We're just normal.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it's nice because it's like nothing surprises me at this point. And you could, like, obviously there's going to be things that right off the bat I'll know aren't biblical, but it's like you could present ideas to me and I would genuinely look into it to try to figure out how are you coming to this conclusion, because I need to know.
I think like that's how it should be with everything. Like we should look at both sides and then make our decisions, not only research one side and be like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Because it's like even our whole thing with the little season, I looked into this to prove it wrong for like so long. Like I'm gonna prove this wrong. I'm gonna prove this wrong. And it's like you literally can't. So
and it's just like for us, it's like we grew up on the side, like I grew up thinking the earth was a globe. I grew up thinking Jesus coming back. People get ready. Jesus is coming. Like, come on. Like that's how we grew up.
Yeah.
Like, and I truly believed like,
yeah,
we have hope because Jesus is coming back. It's like, no, we have hope because Jesus died and rose again and conquered sin and death. So it's like we were on that side. We grew up in that side. My dad has a billion books on the end times. Like,
same,
you know,
a billion.
Yeah, and it's like I grew up watching that, like the Kent Hovind. I told you about Kent Hovind. I commented on a video of his, but I grew up watching Kent Hovind, who is like the dinosaur guy, and like he has so many great videos. He's really great. But he is not a biblical cosmology guy. He believes dinosaurs are real. I think he believes dragons and dinosaurs. Maybe they're like the story's wrong. But so I grew up like totally in that world, believing all the things the world was teaching us about history. Like I remember going to the history museum with my dad and seeing the dinosaurs and being like, oh my gosh, like this like proves God. And now like I'm rethinking all the dinosaurs. And it's like,
I know.
You know, so it's like we were on that side. That's what's, I think that's what's frustrating is like, you don't need to hate us and be mad at us because we've been where you are. So instead, I just like to have a conversation like where they just, if you want to know why I came to this conclusion after believing that way for so long, then let's have a conversation. But don't tell me I'm stupid.
I know. Okay? And that I'm worshiping Satan. Yeah. Like, no, certainly not.
I just don't think I'll ever get past that. Them all saying that because it's like it's Revelation bizarre. 20 is in the Bible.
And what are we're still saying how much we love God. Like, you know what I mean? We're talking about how Jesus kept his word. Like what about us is saying, oh, we are choosing to worship Satan.
And it's like, I don't think they understand that I would bet almost everybody who believes in the little season would rather believe that there was a rapture and we weren't going to die.
Heck yeah.
So
I'd rather be over soon and we could just be in heaven where everything's great.
I know.
Would have been great. But, you know, that wasn't for us.
It's not in the cards for us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But hopefully through these conversations, it can make somebody think. That is the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. This might be the thing that leads them to understanding the gospel's real. So
for sure.
Also, for everybody listening, we're sorry we didn't end up going live today. But I think that's about it.
Okay.
Right? Or do you have more?
I don't
have anything else. Yeah.
All right.
All right, everybody.
See ya.